In this video, we are going to show you the perfect itinerary through Croatia. One of the questions we get the most is how to set up the logistics to visit the three most iconic destinations in the country: the walled city of Dubrovnik, the living palace of Split, and the trendy island of Hvar. To do this trip without rushing, feeling the atmosphere of the Adriatic Sea, and crossing the islands with tranquility, we recommend at least 7 days. That is why we have prepared a super complete 7-day itinerary with the best of Croatian culture and nature, detailed day by day. So let us get started. What is the best time to visit Croatia? This is the most important tip because the weather completely changes the landscape and the blue of the water. The best time to enjoy the sea in the medieval cities is late spring and early autumn, especially the months of May, June, September, and October. In these months, the temperature is super pleasant. The water is perfect for swimming, and the crowds are smaller. Summer in July and August is the high season. The days are very long, perfect to stretch the tours. But the cities get crowded with tourists from all over the world. The yachts invade the islands, and the heat can pass 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Winter is not recommended for this coastal itinerary because it is very windy, quite cold, and most hotels and restaurants on the islands close their doors. So how will our 7-day itinerary work? The idea is to take a trip focused on fast ferry logistics, which is the best way to hop from city to city along the coast of Croatia. We will arrive from the south in Dubrovnik. We will stay 2 days in the walled city, then we will take a fast catamaran to the island of Hvar to stay 2 days, and we will make a final trip over the waters to Split to sleep 3 nights, returning on the last day. Mandatory documentation for international tourists. To enter Croatia, which is now part of the European Free Movement Zone, you need a valid passport. Soon, Europe will require the electronic travel authorization, so pay attention before boarding. Most Western tourists do not need a visa for tourism up to 90 days. However, entry without travel insurance is prohibited, and remembering the travel insurance. For Croatia, travel insurance is mandatory by law because the country is part of the Schengen area. It must have a minimum coverage of $30,000 for medical and hospital expenses. The local health system is good, but private care for tourists in case of accidents on the pebble beaches or rescues on the islands costs a fortune. We never travel to Europe without one. We use a price comparator that always finds the most complete insurance for half the price. We will leave the link in the video description. Now let us talk about transportation. How to get around this itinerary. This itinerary does not require a rental car. The car is a gigantic problem in Dubrovnik and Split, where the historic centers are exclusive for pedestrians, and crossing with vehicles on the ferries is very expensive. To arrive, you will fly into Dubrovnik. To get around inside the cities, you will do practically everything on foot because the magic is in the narrow alleys. To go from Dubrovnik to Hvar, and then from Hvar to Split, the logistics are taking the fast ferries exclusive for passengers. The trip over the Adriatic Sea is a spectacle in itself. The most important tip is to buy ferry tickets months in advance online to guarantee your spot because the seats sell out very quickly in the summer. It is always much cheaper and safer to book before. We will leave the link of the comparator we use in the description. Staying in a good region will make your trip much easier. You will be close to all tourist spots and ports. In Dubrovnik, the best space is right outside the main gates of the old city in the Pile or Plos regions. The advantage is having wonderful views of the sea and not having to carry your heavy bags up and down the endless stone stairs inside the walls. In Hvar, the best option is to stay in Hvar town itself, near the port and the main square. The advantage is being just steps away from the best restaurants, the beach clubs, and the place where the speedboat tours depart. In Split, the big secret is to sleep as close as possible to the ruins of Diocletian Palace. The advantage is that you will do everything walking and will be right next to the charming seaside promenade and the main port, facilitating your departure. We created this personalized map which explains exactly which is the best region in each of these base cities. Staying in this marked area, you cannot go wrong. We will leave here on the screen and in the video description the link to this map. We created them on the hotel site we always use, as it always has the best prices. Over there, you can already enter your travel date and see all hotel options within this location for the lowest prices. We will also leave links to the hotels we have already stayed at there. In all destinations, we always recommend one that is very cheap and super well located, and another that is a little better in the same location but a little more expensive. These are great options. An important tip to save on accommodation is the advanced strategy. Good and well-located hotels on the Croatian coast sell out up to 6 months in advance, becoming a real fever in the summer. That is why we really like using this site. In addition to having the lowest prices, it has free cancellation with almost all hotels. You can book as soon as possible to guarantee a much lower price, and if you need to cancel later, it is super easy and at no cost. And remembering that in this link below, we always organize everything you need to set up your entire trip for the lowest price. The sites we use to build our trips and that have everything much cheaper, like the international cell phone chip to have internet throughout Europe, travel insurance with discount tickets for the walls, and speedboat tours, good and cheap hotels we have already stayed at, and the global account to carry dollars, paying lower fees. And the links already contain automatic discounts because we are always updating them, so save this page in your favorites and use it when planning, which will facilitate your trip a lot and save you a lot. Now, let us get to the day by day. Day 1. Arrival in Dubrovnik and the Old City. Arrive through Dubrovnik International Airport. The logistics are taking the express bus from the airport or an app car straight to the entrance of the ancient city in just 30 minutes. Check in at your hotel. Spend the afternoon exploring the heart of Dubrovnik, known as the Pearl of the Adriatic. Start by entering through the majestic Pile Gate and admire the Onofrio Fountain. Walk along the Strudin, the wide main street, exclusive for pedestrians whose limestone floor shines from being so polished. In the late afternoon, look for the small secret passages carved into the walls that lead to the famous cliff bars known as Buza Bar. Sit at a table on the edge of the abyss, order a cold drink, and watch the sunset dive into the ocean. For dinner, get lost in the narrow alleys and taste a wonderful grilled squid with local olive oil. Day 2. The majestic walls and the King of Westeros. Start the day very early, right at the opening of the gates to do the #1 attraction of the city, the Walk on the Walls of Dubrovnik. It is a circuit of almost a mile and a half, walking literally on top of the thick stone walls that surround and protect the city. The contrast of the orange roofs on one side with the deep blue of the sea on the other is spectacular. Going early avoids the cruel midday sun and the crowds of tourists from the cruise ships. In the afternoon, take a themed tour of the Game of Thrones series. Visit the Lovrianak Fortress, which served as the perfect setting for the Red Keep. At the end of the day, take the modern cable car that goes up the mountain right behind the city. The panoramic view of the entire medieval citadel embraced by the water is the most famous postcard of Croatia. Day 3. Trip to Hvar and the Island Vibe. Check out in Dubrovnik early in the morning and go down to the port to take the fast passenger ferry. The trip takes about 3 hours. Relax, order a coffee, and watch the landscape of mountains and rocky islands passing by the window. Arriving in Hvar town, leave your bags at the hotel. Walk through the grandiose St. Stephen's Square and see the Renaissance Cathedral. The atmosphere here is one of luxury and relaxation, with millionaire yachts docked in the port and high-end restaurants. In the mid-afternoon, take a hike up the hill behind the city through pine trees until you reach the Spanish fortress, also called Fortica. The view from the top, looking at the old houses and the neighboring archipelago, is worth every drop of sweat from the climb. Have dinner in a family tavern hidden in the stone streets and enjoy the night breeze. Day 4. Secret beaches and the Blue Cave. Wake up early and go straight to the port. Today is the day to take the most incredible boat tour of the trip. Hire a speedboat tour to visit the fascinating Blue Cave on the island of Bisevo. The natural phenomenon causes the sunlight to pass under the water, illuminating the interior of the cave with a glowing neon blue tone. The tour lasts all day and makes stops in the Pakleni Islands, archipelago, and in several hidden coves for you to swim in the totally transparent and warm waters of the Adriatic Sea. In the late afternoon, return to Hvar and go straight to one of the charming beach clubs on the island, like Hula Hula. The ritual is to enjoy the end of the day with lively music people from all over the world and watch the sun disappear on the horizon. Day 5. Trip to Split and the Living Roman Palace. Check out in Hvar in the morning. Take the catamaran and in just 1 hour, you arrive in the city of Split, the coastal metropolis of the Dalmatia region. The port is literally glued to the historic center. Leave the suitcase at the hotel and go out to explore a unique place in Europe. The old center is actually the ruins of the colossal Diocletian Palace, built by a Roman emperor more than 1,700 years ago. The palace is not a closed museum, it is a living city. People live inside in ancient marble ruins, house ice cream parlors, clothing stores, and vibrant cafes. Visit the peristyle, the central square flanked by Roman columns, and go down to the dark and cool basements that support the entire structure. At the end of the day, walk along the wide seaside promenade, called Riva, full of palm trees, benches, and a lot of social life. Day 6. Day trip to the waterfalls and Trogir. Reserve the day to explore the surroundings of Split. Rent a car or book an excursion to go to the Krka National Park, just an hour-and-a-half drive away. The park is a lush, green sanctuary famous for its enormous sequence of waterfalls. You walk on dozens of wooden walkways suspended over emerald-colored waters, full of fish breathing pure air. The trip from Split is very fast, and the park is wonderful for those who like untouched nature. On the way back to Split, make a mandatory stop in the medieval city of Trogir. It is a small city built on an islet, connected by bridges considered a World Heritage Site. Get lost in the white limestone labyrinths and admire the intact architecture. Have dinner in Split at a seafood restaurant in the Roman ruins. Day 7. Viewpoints, beaches, and farewell. Enjoy your last morning in Split to climb the Marjan Hill. It is an immense forest park attached to the city with stairs surrounded by tall pine trees that lead to a spectacular viewpoint at the top. The view of the entire old city, the port, and the mountains in the background is perfect for the last photos. Then go down the trails to Custuni Beach located at the foot of the hill. It is a beautiful beach protected by the green of the forest. Take a final dip in the Adriatic and relax on a lounge chair. At lunchtime, savor Dalmatian cuisine in one of the restaurants near the waterfront. Grab your bags and start your return journey through the modern Split Airport, which is very close to the center. An important tip that will save you time and money is to buy tickets for attractions and speedboat tours to the Blue Cave well in advance. On the spot, it is always more expensive, and the most famous tourist spots like the walls of Dubrovnik sell out their daily visitor limits, and boats run out of spots quickly in the summer. We will leave on the screen and in the description the link to the site where we always buy tickets and tours for the lowest price. It is the largest tour site in the world and has practically everything there. Tickets for parks passes and guided trips. Everything at the lowest price, and you can buy in any currency, saving on fees. Now let us talk about transportation reinforcing. Use only the ferries to travel between these coastal cities. Download the app of the Croatian State Company or the Catamaran Company to see schedules in real time and just show the tickets on your cell phone when boarding. About travel insurance. Totally mandatory and strictly enforced to enter the European Schengen area. Use the comparator in the description link to save and find the best possible coverage. For those traveling through the islands in the summer, the most important tip is to book boat tickets 2 to 3 months in advance to guarantee a spot at the most convenient times. It is always incredibly safer. We will leave the link of the comparator we use in the description. Quick shopping tips. Croatia is considered the birthplace of the necktie. In Dubrovnik and Split, you will find sophisticated stores that sell pure silk ties and scarves with wonderful prints, making it the most classic Croatian gift. On the island of Hvar, buy small fabric bags full of dried lavender flowers. Original from the island, the natural perfume lasts for many years. Another excellent purchase is olive oil and black truffle-based products, which have the same quality as Italy, but cost a fraction of the price in markets and souvenir shops. And for those who are new here on the channel, welcome. Subscribe and like the video for more tips. And how much does it cost to eat in Croatia? Since the adoption of the euro, the country requires an average budget for trips to the coast. A well-served dish of grilled squid, or the famous black risotto made with squid ink. The Kvarnai risotto in a good restaurant costs between $20 and $30. The golden tip to taste the local culture is to order the peka, which is a method of roasting meats or octopus under an iron dome covered by embers for hours. To save a lot on sightseeing days, buy kebapsici in bakeries and small snack bars, delicious small rolls of grilled meat served inside a soft bread with lots of chopped onions for about $7 to $10. And what to do at night? The Croatian coast has two different atmospheres. In Dubrovnik and Split, the night is a parade of elegance in the stone alleys. The focus is on long dinners in historic squares, drinking a regional white wine, and listening to live music on the seaside promenades. The island of Hvar, on the other hand, is the epicenter of nightlife and parties. The night starts early at the trendy beach clubs watching the sunset and continues until dawn in luxurious nightclubs attracting young people from all over the world. And if you are traveling with kids, this itinerary is spectacular but requires care. Croatian beaches are crystal clear precisely because they are formed by stones and not by fine sand. It is strictly necessary to buy water shoes, preferably rubberized, sold in any street shop to protect children. Feet on the stones and from the sea urchins that are in the shallow areas. The center of Split, formed by the old palace, is fascinating for the little ones, as it looks like a large castle labyrinth where they can explore very safely. And to combine your trip, the coastal position of southern Croatia allows for incredible extensions. If you have a spare day in Dubrovnik, the logistics are perfect to cross the border on an excursion tour heading south and spend the day in Montenegro visiting the stunning Bay of Kotor, which looks like a Scandinavian fjord, surrounded by giant mountains. Or you can take a short bus ride to see Bosnia and marvel at the alleys with Arab influences and the majestic medieval stone bridge in the city of Mostar. If you liked this detailed itinerary of Croatia, like the video and subscribe to our channel. Leave your questions in the comments. Thank you very much and have a safe trip.